Hey everyone, on this beautiful fall day. Okay, so if you have a kiddo who has learning difficulties or ADHD and also has asthma, allergies, eczema, digestive, immune issues, autoimmune issues, anything like that, it's not because your child is a lemon. And I say that because of one mom I talked to years ago when I first started who said, how you have a car that's a lemon. She's like, I feel like that's my child. And she felt bad saying that, but she said, it just feels like everything is broken. And so this is what I want to talk about today. So we talked about last week, candida yeast overgrowth, which I want to talk more about today, but it really ties into overall gut health to begin with. So we talked about how picky eating is often correlated with learning difficulties, ADHD, and so forth, but also that when a child is a picky eater, I don't want to say always, but oftentimes these kids, their taste buds are being hijacked and there's an overgrowth of candida or yeast, right? Remembering from last time that we need a certain amount of candida or yeast in our gut. It's part of the microbiome, but we need to keep that in check, like all things. So what happens is this candida feeds off sugar and carbohydrates, hijacks our kids' taste buds. They're a picky eater. It becomes a vicious cycle because now they're eating carbs or sugar, and then they're feeding the yeast, and then the yeast gets worse, and then their food, I don't want to say sensitivities, but just their pickiness around what they are willing or not willing to eat just becomes exasperated. So it's just this horrible, vicious cycle. So what's really interesting is that as far back as the 1940s, it's been known that kids with autism spectrum had immune and digestive issues and other health issues, that it was a full body disorder. And that has since been a thing that's kind of been discovered much more than just with autism spectrum, but also with ADHD. So for example, in the 1980s, neurologist Dr. Natasha Kalen-McBride was working with kids who had ADHD, learning disabilities, autism, and so forth, and also started noticing that these kids were much more likely to have things like eczema, allergies, asthma, immune, gut issues, and so forth, and realized these things are connected. This is not a coincidence every single time. And so what's important to remember in connection to gut health is that candida can dysregulate the immune system, and that will disrupt digestive enzyme function. It will cause overall inflammation and gut permeability. And this is going to lead to an increased risk of everything from nutritional deficiencies, food sensitivities, and those immune issues that I'm talking about. So this is why healing the gut, addressing candida, addressing yeast is so important, because this ties into brain health and brain function as well. So this will exacerbate, if these issues are going on, this is going to exacerbate both the physical issues as well as the brain function and brain health. So this really has to do with the fact that 70% of the immune system is in the gut, right? You've probably heard this. The brain and the gut are intimately connected via the vagus nerve. There's 100 billion neurons in the gut lining. And basically, many of those neurotransmitters are manufactured by the gut bacteria. So the neurotransmitters that your child needs to learn to read, to focus, to manage their emotions, for impulse control, processing speed, to be able to sleep well. We all know sleep is super important for focus, emotional regulation, concentration, memory, right? All that type of stuff. So we really need to get that gut bacteria in check, and that all boils down to balancing everything, being in kind of a beautiful, perfect kind of balance. So this really isn't that your child is a lemon, that they have random health issues that are not connected. It's that it really requires an entire brain body approach. And that when our kids are struggling with learning and behavior issues and they have these other seemingly unrelated health issues, that it really has to do with there is a disconnect or an imbalance with the brain and the body. So what I do in my program and what I'm going to be talking about in my free training next Friday, October 28th, 12 p.m. Eastern, I'll put the sign up link in the comments below. We're going to be talking about the biology of learning and behavior. And we're going to be talking about things like why it's important to tackle yeast, detoxification, healing the gut, regulating the immune system. And all of this is going to help improve brain function so that kids are better learning, have a better memory, emotional regulation, digestion, skin issues, asthma, allergies, immune issues, all of that type of stuff. So I'm going to put the link for the biology of learning and behavior in the comments below. reach out if you have any questions or you want to know more about the Full Potential Formula, my 6-month program. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.